there, show fans. Welcome back to another episode of Accessible Athletics. Today on the show, I have some special guests that I'm very excited to have a conversation with. Jean and Peter Llewellyn, who are certified pickleball coaches, are joining me on the show today. Welcome, Jean and Peter, and thank you for coming on to the show.
Thank you for having us.
So let's start by giving you the opportunity to tell us a little bit about yourselves. Jean, let's start with you.
I've been involved with sport just about all my life, different sports at different times, starting with track and field and squash, badminton, riding horses, you name it. I've done a lot of different sports, and I was a journalist for 35 years, so I'm used to being on the other side of an interview.
Well, you've been quite involved there with everything, it sounds like.
Yep, keeps me busy, keeps me out of mischief.
Oh, that's good. Peter, how about you? Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Sure. Like Jean, I've been involved with sport all my life, both professionally and as a young guy. I was an international swimmer. I then played squash at a very high level. My career has been mostly in sports photography, which I've covered events all around the world, including the Olympic Games on several occasions. So my sporting background is quite varied, like Jean's.
Nice, and you also mentioned to me that you were a photographer for the Blue Jays and Raptors, right?
I've photographed many Blue Jays games, many Raptors games, NHL games. I've covered probably pretty much every single sport at some time or another. Formula One, athletics, soccer, you name it.
Wow. Sounds like you were pretty involved with that too.
Yep, indeed.
Nice. So I understand that you are certified pickleball coaches. How did you get involved in the sport?
We started playing down in Mexico, and we were very fortunate that a neighbour of ours there was a certified IPTPA coach, the same as we are now, and he ran a series of week-long clinics which we attended, and we were lucky to have some other neighbours who were playing at a very high level in the US. One was actually a Masters champion. So we had very good mentoring right from the beginning. And when we returned to Canada, we decided there were too many people who weren't certified coaches and it needed a better approach to the sport, which was why we decided to do our exams and become certified ourselves.
Oh, nice. That sounds awesome. Seems very interesting that you got involved here in Mexico, out of all places to be certified with pickleball.
You can play year-round
down
there. That's the big difference. Outdoors, although in the summer it can be too hot. But yes, we were in an ideal place at a time that we could learn properly right from the beginning. And one of the problems is that a lot of people start to play and don't have lessons, and they pick up a lot of bad habits that you then have to try and make adjustments once they want to progress.
Yeah, that's always the hardest part, is trying to make those adjustments for those people. Did you ever get a chance to play professional pickleball?
No, and nor would I want to.
Oh.
I think we're both too old now to start thinking about professional sport. So yeah, we did our share of high-level competitive sport when we were younger. Now my ambitions are for my students, not for myself.
Yeah,
I've played up to the Alberta provincial level, but certainly that is very different from the professional level. Believe me.
Wow, that's still pretty high up level though to be playing. So.
But you can play, but you're not necessarily winning.
Yeah. If someone wants to learn pickleball, how can they get started?
Lessons. Start properly so that you learn correct technique right from the beginning, which is important as much as anything, to be careful of physical fitness so that you don't get injuries when you start to learn to play. So it's just learning properly right from the beginning.
And make sure you go to a professional coach, somebody who knows what they're talking about. There's a lot of people out there who are professing to be pickleball instructors who have no certification, no insurance. So just be a little bit careful and do a little bit of background check on the people that you're going to go to. There's lots of opportunities in the city. Lots of organisations are offering very good lesson programs.
I know a lot of people like to go to YouTube, so that's probably not the best option either for learning, is it?
What you see on YouTube, it's fun to watch, especially some of the very high-level World Championship type games. But the way they play and the way 99% of other people play is very different. You'll see things that they're young guys in their 30s, as fit as they can possibly be, and we can't aspire to that. You have to play within your own level of ability. Yes, play to progress, but don't risk injuries because you're just trying to go too far above what you can really deal with.
Yeah. So what kind of teaching programs do you offer?
We personally, we offer everything from absolute beginners, people who've not picked up a paddle before, right up to very high-level players. So Jean is a level 1 coach. She starts people off in the right direction, does the beginner program, helps with the intermediate program. I run the intermediate and the advanced programs.
Oh, cool. So it's good to know that there's different levels to it where people can get involved with it.
Absolutely, yep.
To some people, perhaps the sport looks like you're just standing around and hitting the ball back and forth a couple of times. But there was more to it than that, isn't there?
Well, yes and no. There's certainly a lot of people who just stand on the court and hit the ball backwards and forwards to each other, but that isn't really the way that pickleball is played. Everybody thinks that it's quite a sedentary game where it's slow and it's for old people. Not so much anymore. The game is getting faster and faster. The equipment is getting a lot more technical. So, yeah, it's not just standing around. It's 2 hours on the pickleball court is a real workout.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's lots of strategy to it. Like, you watch pros on TV, it looks like they're just smashing at each other, but then there's actually strategy and stuff to it too, right?
Absolutely, yes. It's a game of 2 speeds, very slow or very fast, and it changes within a single shot from one to the other. So where they look like they're just smashing it at each other, the top level players, there's a lot more to it than that. They've actually built the rally up to that point to be able to suddenly attack.
Yeah.
We say it's a sport of quick feet and slow hands, because if you watch some of the top players, even when they're playing fast, they're not accelerating their hands. They've just got such good technique that it might look like they're playing faster than they really are.
Yeah. So some people may think the sport is mostly for a more mature age group. Do you see this as being the case?
It used to be, but not now. If you look at the world champion over, I don't know how many titles she's won now, but the mixed doubles, she's 17. She grew up with a mum who was a professional player, and there are more and more youngsters, teens, coming into the sport. That is probably being driven by the amount of money that they can now earn, because you're talking $1 million packages for these players as it becomes so much more commercial. It's a game that certainly can be played across a lot of different age groups. But where a few years ago the average age was probably 60-something, today it's maybe 30-something. So it has changed a lot.
So as the sport gets more popular, it's starting to get more and more younger people that are starting to play it too.
Yep, absolutely, yep.
You have been involved with pickleball for quite some time now. How have you seen the sport change or evolve over the years?
It's got a lot faster. The equipment has changed. The game was originally developed with wooden paddles, which probably cost $10. We're now talking about very high-tech paddles, $350, $400 for a top-level paddle. So they have allowed people to hit the ball harder but keep it in the court. There's a lot more spin involved in the game now than ever there was before. The fitness level of the players has come up tremendously. The game, and it makes a difference for us as coaches. We've had to adapt our coaches to the changing game as well. At one time, for example, the serve wasn't particularly important. It was just to get the ball into play. That's changed. So now people are serving hard, flat and fast, whereas before it was a big loopy serve. So lots of things have changed within the game itself. But generally, to sum it up in a single thing, it's speed.
Speed. And you mentioned too that it was wooden paddles. So now that they don't have wooden paddles anymore, but the difference in paddles make a difference in the game. Like there's some paddles that are thicker and thinner than others. Does that affect the way that the game has evolved too over the years?
People should really wait and start to play before they buy a paddle. If you can borrow a paddle, that's good, because you can pay a lot of money for them, and there's no point in a beginner going out and spending $300 on a paddle that they are actually unable to use, because the paddle is going to be way ahead of their ability. There are nice entry-level paddles that you can get which would probably do someone for the first 6 to 8 months of their pickleball playing, and by then they should know what they're going to look for by the weight of the paddle, the balance in their hands. So it certainly, a paddle can help your game, but buying a very expensive paddle isn't going to make you a better player.
Yeah, I know a lot of people think, I'm going to get a better paddle to be a better player, but yeah.
No.
So let's talk about the Special Olympics pickleball program. How did you get involved specifically with Special Olympics, and how long have you been teaching the program there?
We started in 2023, and someone from Special Olympics originally contacted Calgary Pickleball Club, of which Peter is a director, asking whether there was anyone who would be interested in creating a program for Special Olympics. And we volunteered because in the past we've been involved with special needs groups, but in other sports. First of all, it was skiing, where we actually had Paralympians that were in the team, and dragon boating, believe it or not, when we lived on the West Coast, which was for a group from a local head injury society. So we volunteered, not knowing too much about Special Olympics, but we learned very quickly. And so this was the program that we're just coming to the end of now, is the third program that we've done. It started October, December 2023, then October, December last year, and now we're in the January to March for this current program.
It's a pretty long session there. I know myself, being a participant in the Special Olympics pickleball program, that I am very excited to have you as our coaches. It has been so much fun, and I have learned so much about playing pickleball. How are you finding your coaching experience with the Special Olympic athletes?
I have to say that if I was only able to coach one session a week, this would be the one I would choose. I have as much fun as the athletes. I like to adapt the coaching that I do even for my really top players, and bring some of those skills into the special program. I think the enthusiasm of the athletes is the thing that really drives it. It's not me. It's the athletes that drive it.
Well, the athletes show they have a lot of fun when they come there. They're all laughing, and a lot of them kind of care more about the social aspect than they do with the sport itself.
I think a lot of them also, they're keen to learn. They're motivated to come along. And at the end of the first session, someone said to us, "Oh, you must have learned. They must have learned so much from you as coaches," and we both said, "No, we learned far more from them than they did from us, because it just changes your perspective. You look at the sport from a completely different perspective when you're teaching Special Olympics athletes."
Because the Special Olympic athletes, some of them have like different abilities. So have you had to adjust your coaching techniques, and have you found any challenges with coaching this group of athletes?
I would say we've had to make a lot of adjustments. It hasn't been, I wouldn't say it's been challenging. It needs a lot of creativity to assess the individual athletes, because everyone is certainly different. They all have their own abilities and their ways of learning. So it's finding the right learning environment for them and creating a situation where they can all succeed at something, whether it's playing pickleball, because as you know, there are some athletes in the lower groups who haven't yet been able to actually play games of pickleball. But if they can improve their hand-eye coordination and their mobility around the court and just their interaction with other athletes as a team, that's success for them. So that's what we're looking at. It's overall just having successful goals that we set for everyone.
And achievable goals.
Yeah.
We make sure that everybody achieves their maximum potential.
And that's good, because you want to make sure that, everybody has fun, not just like the novice, the beginner levels too. It's
Absolutely.
kind of about everybody too.
Yep, you're right.
So, as you know, my show was about helping Special Olympic athletes to live a healthy lifestyle. As coaches, I'm sure you have some helpful advice on this topic. What advice can you offer when these athletes are struggling to work on their health?
There's a number of things with this. So let's look at the sporting side of things first. Don't just go straight on the court or on the ice or whatever. Make sure you warm up properly. Get your body ready for the things that you're going to put it through. A little bit of stretching. As you know, we always do a little bit of a warm-up routine for the pickleball players. And that should be the same for everything. Obviously, different people within the Special Olympics community have different health problems. Know how much you can push yourself physically and mentally. It's because a lot of sport is not just the physical side of it. It's the mental preparation to be able to play to the best of your ability. So I think it's just preparation. Make sure that you don't overstress yourself. Make sure that you're playing within what you can do, but also sometimes just push a little bit further to get a little bit better each time.
Yeah, we always start with that warm-up, like running around and stuff, to make sure that they are in good as what they can be too. So what advice can you offer what changes have you seen from athletes when they implement healthy choices, such as physical activity?
I think the big thing for them is mobility and hand-eye coordination and just general physical coordination. Because, as you know, some athletes do have challenges where mobility is concerned and coordination. So it's teaching them how they can improve. And that's probably what we see the most from them. And obviously anything like that impacts their overall health and lifestyle. If an athlete can come along who has perhaps not been very communicative in the past, but then learns to communicate and integrate as part of a team, hopefully they will then take that out of the sport into the wider world and just be able to benefit more with their life, with lifestyle changes.
If there are some athletes, because you mentioned there's some that struggle with their hand-eye coordination, if there's athletes that struggle with their hand-eye coordination, what kind of things do you do to kind of help them to hit the ball and just kind of work on that?
To begin with, we don't have them try and hit the ball. We only put a paddle in their hand at a point where they've already learned how to catch a ball, for instance. So to begin with, it may be that a coach will just throw the ball over the net for them to catch, either with one or both hands, and for them to throw the ball back. So they get used to the movement of having their movement all coming from their shoulder. And it's only when they are really comfortable with controlling a ball that we actually then put the paddle in their hands. And that's quite different. It's an additional appendage that you're having to try and sort of just learn how to use it. And it's not easy for everyone. It might look easy for a lot of people, but it isn't always. So it's creating the exercises and the drills so that it actually brings an athlete to a point where they can use a paddle to hit the ball across the net and also engage in a game situation.
I've seen, from when I played with you guys on the program, I've seen some athletes that use like these foam balls that are kind of bouncier. What is that for? Is that kind of for the hand-eye coordination too?
Yeah, they're larger, slightly larger balls, and some of the athletes, it's the feel of the ball, the trajectory when you're throwing the ball backwards and forwards, and sometimes colour is a factor, because there's one athlete who was unable to deal with a blue ball because of certain colour blindness issues. So that's, again, something else. And the foam balls, they have a very comforting feel to them, unlike a pickleball. Pickleballs, when you hit one, they, as you know, they roll around and they go everywhere. Whereas the foam balls, they're softer. When they land on the ground, they stop sooner. They're not quite as difficult to control when they're throwing them. But it is a size issue and it's a comfort issue. And some athletes choose to use the foam balls over the pickleballs just because of the feel of them.
That's interesting that there's those different kind of balls too. What kind of healthy choices can athletes make outside of physical activity to stay healthy?
Keep active. When you come to the end of a program, don't regard it as the end of everything. Either go to another. I know a lot of the athletes do multiple programs, which is great. But if there's not another program for you to go to, find something. Walking. Have a little jog around every now and again. If you are really into pickleball, buy yourself a pickleball and get yourself a cheap paddle. Just tap the ball up and down while you're walking around. You know, I have some exercises even for the better players who they have a lot of trouble with just tapping the ball up and down and keeping it under control. So there's lots of little things that you can do, but the thing is, just don't stop. Once you've started a program, stay active. Do something.
And so they can even join like pickleball leagues, like open play leagues too, if they want to do it outside of special, right?
There is lots of open play, and the open play tends to be at all sorts of different levels. Certainly, I know some of the better Special Olympic athletes can certainly join in those programs and have a lot of fun and hold their own against some of the other players, believe me.
Yeah, it is impressive to see what they can do when you watch some of them, how they can hold their own and they pick up the game so quick.
Absolutely. One of the great things about pickleball is the rules are easy to learn. It's easy to learn to hit the ball over the net, not so easy to learn to play at a high level.
Yeah.
That's where the practice comes in.
Yeah. So our Special Olympic programs run throughout the year, and some of these athletes participate in perhaps 1 or 2 programs. Do you have any recommendations on how these athletes can stay active after their program is done?
Just what Peter said. Do anything. Volunteer to walk a dog. Just stay active. That's the most important thing. And as you know, eating healthily, staying active, being motivated by participating in a sport, and just finding your group that you enjoy playing with, and just if it's a different sport, learn a different sport. So it's just being motivated, and I'm sure a lot of athletes, all the ones we've met, always seem so enthusiastic and motivated. So that doesn't seem to be a problem.
Yeah. So yeah, it's good. There's some that seem motivated. If there's one that you get that's not motivated, what are some things that you do like to try to get them motivated to play the sport or to learn it?
Make them laugh.
Yeah, that's a good one. But you have to look also beyond the athlete themselves as to why they are not motivated. I mean, you have one of the most motivated dads who gets you going with pickleball, and parental motivation is a big factor for a lot of them. As you know, a lot of the athletes, their parents or caregivers come with them to sessions. Some we don't see at all. So it's just assessing what an athlete's particular personal needs are and how we can create an identity for them within pickleball that they will achieve, maybe more than they even expect themselves. It's been surprising that some of the athletes who come along the first lesson of a new program, you wonder what their expectations are, but you very quickly find out because there is just such enthusiasm.
Yeah, that's the great thing about being part of Special too. Like, there's some people who are in this session now who weren't in the first session, and this is their first time ever playing pickleball. You know, like Zeke, and they've been able to pick up the game very quickly, which I find is very surprising for them too.
Well, we have to confess we did know Zeke from before because he was with the Autism and Asperger's Friendship Society playing, and we did a program for them back in the summer. And at the end, he did tell me that he'd applied to Special Olympics. So I said to him, well, if you get accepted, just watch out for the next pickleball program. He's actually done really, really well in integrating with your particular group. And again, he makes us laugh because he just throws himself all around the court. He's so full of energy, as so many of them are. CJ is another one. He's just like a sort of a human robot. He's just here, there, and everywhere. So yeah, I mean, it's everyone is different though, and even if one comes along who isn't quite as mobile or as active, as Peter says, if we can get them to laugh, that's half the battle.
And that's the best thing too, seeing them laughing and having fun.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Peter and Jean, this has been a great conversation, and I have really enjoyed speaking with you both. Thank you again for taking the time to come on my show today.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it, Special fans. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Accessible Athletics. I'm your host, Damien Chiodo, reminding you to continue making a healthy lifestyle your priority, and stay tuned for the next episode of Accessible Athletics.